Still wondering how the heck this time blocking and batching thing actually works? That's what I want to talk to you about in today's video. Hey, I'm Elise Cartwright from Hustle and Groove, and we talk about all things email marketing, productivity, and side hustle related. So you want to do time blocking and you want to do batching, but you can't figure out how to actually make it work for your schedule. And that's what I want to cover today. It's all about getting more done with time blocking and batching. Time blocking and batching really go well together, and why wouldn't you do both at the same time? So a couple of things to get started with. Make sure that you've identified the best time blocks for yourself. So when I'm talking about a time block, I'm talking about focused time. So you can have any time block set, but if it's not focused, then you're not going to get as much done. So figure out what your ideal focused time blocks are. So for me, I can do 2 hours back to back, no problem, with a 5-minute break right in the middle there, just so I can go and pee, have a drink, get something to eat, those types of things. 5 minutes is all it takes and doesn't stop me from getting into that context switching thing that can happen if you're not doing time blocking. So for me, I have 2-hour blocks scheduled throughout the day. So generally it looks like 4 2-hour blocks in my day. So that will be 8 till 10 a.m. Then I'll have a half-hour block, and then it all filters through from there. So it's about figuring out what works best for you. Now, if you're working in a day job and you're doing this as your side hustle, you're going to have a limited amount of time. So you need to figure out what your time blocks are. You might have smaller focused time blocks. You might have 30-minute time blocks to allow you to get more stuff done. And you might choose to do a few in the morning and then a few as soon as you get home from work. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what that looks like. Then schedule them into your calendar. So I use Google Calendar to block those off, and I color code them so I know what I'm meant to be doing in those focused time blocks. So you can assign the actual focused piece, whether it is side hustle related, whether it is client related, whether it is personal related. Figure out what that is for you. And then when you're actually in your focused time blocks, if you find yourself getting distracted, then I would think about playing music or that any noise or anything like that that makes you stay focused on what you're doing. So I use a couple of different things. So I use the Focus at Will app, and you can check that out. It's focusatwill.com. Now, what that allows me to do is choose different sounds. So for example, when I'm writing, so writing a book, when I'm in that focus time, I use the coffee sound on the Focus at Will app, and it's just playing all these cafe sounds. So people are chattering, coffee machines are going off in the background, and it's just white noise. And it tells my brain that I'm meant to be writing. So that's like my writing track. And then if I'm doing images or editing or anything like that, then I'm using the up tempo sound, and that's just music with a fairly solid beat and really up-tempo music. So that tells me that I'm doing either writing or image creation or something like that, but is not book related. So my mind or my brain has been trained now to recognize that when those sounds are playing, then that's what I'm doing, and it's very easy for me to switch into whichever mode I need to be in for that. So that's really what time blocking is. It's identifying what things make the most sense for you in terms of what those blocks look like, and then scheduling them in and making sure that they're focused. Now, the time batching or batching your tasks comes in when you have set up quite a few different things. So for example, if you were writing blog posts for a client, it would be ideal to get all those blog topics ahead of time. So ideally a month ahead of time, so that you could just write in one time block. And that is batching your tasks at the same time. So you're just doing all the writing all in one go. So for example, time batching for me, or batching in general, I have specific days of the week where I'm doing all of the same thing. Now this is generally when it's a task or item that is going to take you longer than a couple of hours to do. So for example, this is Monday for me, and it is the first Monday of the month, and this is when I record all my videos for the next 6 weeks. So the whole day is dedicated to video related tasks. So I'll do all the recording, then do all the editing, and then send them all off to be transcribed. So that is all done all in one day. And I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the month. For the next 6 weeks, don't even need to think about it. So that's one of the things that I love about batching and focused time blocks, is being able to identify the things that you do regularly and consistently and that are the same, and assigning them either a focused time block or a day to do it on, so that I can make the best use of that time. Now, ever since I've been doing both of these together, I'm actually more productive. I breeze through things a lot faster because I'm not having to switch. I'm not having to switch programs. I'm not having to switch locations. I'm just doing all of the things all in one focused time block. So I hope this makes sense to you. Your action step is simply to try this out for yourself. Identify your time blocks, make sure they're focused, and then figure out where you can batch some tasks together. It doesn't always work, but if you're doing reoccurring things, that is the ideal time to then batch them together. So if you loved this video, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up, because then this gets out into more people's hands. And if you're new here, welcome, hit subscribe. You will get notified when the next videos go live, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm Lise Cartwright. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video.